What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the 740 Show, episode 24, I believe. And tonight, we are going to be talking with Peyton from Lone Star Silencers. But before we do that, what's going on, Matt?
How we doing?
I'm good. What have you been up to?
Oh, about 6 foot. No, it's just been busy. I mean, you and I talk all the time. Got a whole bunch of guns in the works and a couple of optics. And actually, an old friend of the channel just got a hold of me today. Somebody actually the first company I ever worked with a decade ago, Monstrum, got a hold of me and said, "Hey, here's these optics. You want to check them out?" And yeah, like I haven't used any of their stuff in a long, long time. So that was actually kind of fun hearing from them. But yeah, I got some triggers coming up. Posted a trigger video today for the Rise Armament Rev 535. And yeah, just busy. I want to say, though, I'm going to submit a new category for the Gundies. And it's the most badass intro music ever created. Like, nobody could see me, but I'm sitting there like, yeah, as your music was going.
Yeah, that was it's a pretty cool song. I like that. Who's the rep over at Monstrum now? Because I know Chris moved on to something else.
Merrill, no, something like that. I have to look at my phone.
That's fine. I know Chris.
Yeah, I've blinked since then, so I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Chris kind of stepped away. I think he got out of the marketing part and took a higher position there, so which kind of sucks because I always liked working with him, but oh well. Well, Matt, I'm glad you're here. We're going to have fun tonight, and we're going to move down to Jeremy, fluffy 10mm Jeep guy. What have you been up to?
Nothing, just working, and that's about it. I want to say hey to Daniel over in the side chat there. It's a guy I work with.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to call the side chat out here in a second. So, well, Fluffy and I just got back from Goals almost 2 weeks ago, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, it's about 2 weeks.
It's been a blur ever since we got back. There's so much stuff going on here with reviews and all that. But, yeah, we went out to Goals. It was in Iowa this year. We had a great time. We got to hang out with Peyton from Lone Star, who I'm going to introduce here in a second. We got to hang out every night with the guys from EAA, Bursa, Canic. We had a great time out there. So
and some good food.
Yeah, we had some really good food. So maybe, I know it's going to be a little late, but maybe next Thursday night we'll do a Goals wrap-up show. But tonight we've got a special guest. While we were at Goals, we met Peyton, at Range Day, which is the first day of goals. And Peyton brought some really badass silencers to Range Day. And he pretty much just threw everything on the table for Jeremy and I to shoot. I think we shot almost every can he had. And pretty awesome suppressors. And I'm super excited to talk about them tonight, share everything with you guys. So, Peyton, I'm going to let you take it. Introduce yourself. Let us know a little bit about the company, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, man. Well, first off, it was great meeting you guys at Goals. That was a blast. You guys came over pretty early in the day before I got tired at Range Day. At a full day of shooting with people just coming in one after the other, it's a lot on you. But no, Peyton Gregg with Lone Star Silencer. We're out of Texas. Built like we give a damn is kind of what we do around here. So we make everything in-house. Everything from the design all the way down to the final production is done right here in our shop, save for just a few things in the process. Most of it's done here. So really, I like to let the product talk about itself. We've got a pretty tight crew. We run 22 guys here in town in our shop, and it is here lately nonstop, especially the last couple of days with all the changes going on. I can't seem to get up from this desk or away from a phone.
Yeah. I want to dive into this too in a little bit. I want to get your opinion from the manufacturing side with all this, with the NFA going away and all that. So we'll dive into that in a little bit here. Real quick, I'm going to call the side chat out, and then we're going to get back here with Peyton. First in tonight, we had G23. What's up, brother? Second in was Pack Rats Attic. Good to see you, Scott. Rich White is out in the side chat. We got Mike McClune out here tonight. We got Hot Dog over on the Rumble side. We are streaming over on Rumble. Let's see. We got Devin is out there from Spectre Solutions. Great to see you, brother. And let's see. Down through here. Jason Ewing is out there. Good to see you, Jason. Ron, 2A Matters is out there. We got Artac and Daughters out in the side chat. And then we have Daniel. That is one of Fluffy's friends. Daniel, we're great. It's great to have you out in the side chat. Hope you enjoy the show. Pat in the Bunker is out in the side chat. Devin throwing down a $19.99 super chat. Thank you, Devin. You didn't have to do that. Dale Pogue is out there. We're almost there, guys. Black Rifle Medic is out there. Speaking of the Suppressor King, that guy has reviewed almost every suppressor there is.
I love that guy, and I love his content. It shows up on our channel from time to time.
Oh, yeah.
Good to see you, brother.
He's awesome. Savanity is out there. I hope I pronounced that right. Walter is out in the side chat. Great to see you, Walter. And I believe we are all caught up. So I guess my first question for you, Peyton, is what year did you guys start Lone Star Silencers?
Yeah, so we started in 2024.
Wow, you're a very new company then.
Just ahead of the curve. So, for us, it's funny. Our sales crew, they do a hell of a job. They're out hitting dealers. We do business a little bit different than most silencer companies from a certain standpoint. We can get into that a little bit later. But it's kind of crazy because we sometimes, not very often anymore, but we'll walk into a store that we've never been in and they're like, oh, well, you're just with the other 208 silencer companies that started in January. It's like, oh, no, not really, right? Actually, Mike Pappas and I from Dead Air had a pretty cool conversation about this. He came over to us after Range Day and then came over to us and hung out a little bit at the show. And one of the funny things he and I were talking about were all the new companies that have popped up since January. And he looked at me and he goes, you glad you were there before January? I said, yeah, I learned a lot in pre-January 2026 and post-January 2026 business. He goes, yeah, me too, and I'm damn proud of it. Yeah, us too, Mike. It's the world's changed 3 times over in the last 8 months.
Yeah, Pappas showed up at one of the parties I was at, dinner, get together, whatever you want to call it, and I didn't get a chance to talk to him. I really wished I would have. I know he's a super cool guy to hang out with. So,
man, if you ever get the chance to meet him, hands down. I'm not going to talk too much about his past, but he's got another guy that he came from another company with way back in the day. And those are 2 of the coolest guys in the industry, hands down. Like just the most down to earth. Hey, how you doing? Let's get outside the industry and just talk. And it's kind of nice in this world every once in a while to talk about anything but silencers. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. It's I know, like a lot of the parties we went to after goals, like we didn't talk about guns. It was just hanging out, having fun. As much as I love it, it's nice to just talk about normal, everyday things once in a while. So,
oh yeah,
so G-Webs is out there with the first question: do we all get a non-NFA can for watching the chat?
Maybe. We'll see how it goes. But today the answer is no.
Yeah. So, so what exactly, Peyton, is your position there at Lone Star?
So I'm the director of operations. I run the day-to-day. I handle most of the R&D, most of the product development, along with a couple other key members of our team. I also head up the sales team. The position's kind of the easiest way to say it. It's just yes, right? What's your position? Yes. Like earlier today, there was a mess on the floor, and it kind of speaks to how we run the company as a team, right? We don't really give titles, so it's hard to put that on me because you may catch me or the owner out here sweeping the floor, and that happens literally every day, right? We want our guys that are in the shop, go work, go do your jobs. We'll take care of the rest. So there is no position too big or too small within the company, and we kind of embody that as a culture. But yeah, I mean, if I got to put a label to it, it's yes, right? Anything and everything. I mean, I help the sales guys do a pretty good job today. They closed a lot of revenue with a lot of new stores with the new products that you guys shot. I also cleaned the toilet. So I guess anything in between there, whatever works for you.
Now, do you guys do any direct sales right off the website where you buy the can, it gets shipped to your SOT, or is all of it, or do you only distribute to distributors and shops?
Yeah. So for today, the answer is we are all business to business. Now, important for everyone is direct to consumer is coming. That's an avenue we're actively working on. I don't want to put a timeline to it. If I had to, I'd say we're probably 90 to 180 days out. But here very, very soon, you'll be able to go directly to the website, click a button, and order what you'd like.
Okay.
Because when I hear direct to consumer, when it comes to cans, I think of what website is that you can actually order the can and get it shipped directly to your house because they do all the paperwork. Is that something you're thinking about doing?
Yeah, there's a couple of them. So there's Capital Armory and there's Silencer Central.
Silencer Central, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I'll probably decline to comment on what we're doing with the direct to consumer site. I can safely say I don't think that that's a direction that we'll go, but hopefully here soon that'll be an option for the consumer to go to those sites and order the products that they choose.
You know, you only have 116 pleading the fifths left before you beat Fosse.
You can just call me. Ask me what color the carpet is, right? We can start that. We can start. How deep do you guys want to go on this podcast? We can roll down that rabbit hole right now. All right.
So out of the suppressors that are available now, what is your hottest selling suppressor?
Well, if you'd have asked me that pre-goals, it would have been our Bandit, which is our 22 rimfire can. I think every gun store in America sells more rimfire cans than anything else because they're just the coolest thing known to man. I actually have one cut in half right behind me there. It's kind of my wall of shame from warranty claims. It's fun stuff that we get to discover and help customers out. As since goals, that Rifleman 30S that you guys shot on that, actually on that gun right there. Both of you shot that short fat can that we were talking about at the counter. That is our number one seller since goals.
Nice.
People can't get enough of that, but it's a really dynamic product, right? The caliber range is good. The sound suppression is phenomenal, super lightweight and hub compatible. So the mounting options are endless. Being able to pack rats, I will address that question in just a minute, and it'll be a perfect thing to flow into what's going on with the NFA today. But going back to the Rifleman 30S, that seems to be a crowd favorite right now with our dealers. They've ordered it en masse, so much so that I had to tell the guys today to up production on that model specifically because our estimates were wrong.
Now, when I did the interview with you at Goals, we talked a little bit about that can, and I really liked how you explained what you did with that, because basically what you had told me was you have the long version of that can and then you have the S version, but you were able to take that can, make it a little bit bigger around to where you could get the same sound suppression as the longer can. And I thought that was pretty cool when you were explaining that to me.
Yeah, there's a couple of different things that we realized with that product. Excuse me. Number one is the way that a silencer works is volume in any given space. So all you're doing is cooling down super pressurized, super hot gases so that when they exit and meet the ambient environment, they're not spontaneously combusting, right? So a lot of people like to think that there's a lot of unburnt powder, and that's partially true. But most of what you get is an uncorking effect. It's the same thing as a champagne bottle, right? The cork moving from the glass makes no sound. The air pressure coming out behind the cork, meeting with the ambient temperature, makes a sound, right?
Right.
So anytime we can take a given space and a given volume, diffuse those gases, redirect those gases, and subsequently cool them down, allow them to expand. So when they come out the other end, there's not this violent reaction. You achieve sound suppression, right? So with the Rifleman 30 and the Rifleman 30S, what we did is we took the Rifleman 30, which is a 155 outer diameter, longer can. We shrunk that down, expanded it to 175 OD, shortened it up by 1.5 inches, gave you a shorter platform with the exact same sound suppression.
Yeah. And it works. And it works.
And it
really
works.
Well. Yeah.
And it works, right?
Now, that can was quite impressive, but the can that we shot on the 4570, that was mind-blowing how quiet we got that down.
Yeah, the Warden's been another crowd favorite. That guy was pretty difficult to produce. 4570. There's a massive powder charge coming out behind that thing, right? Big straight wall cartridges, no bottleneck, lots of powder, lots of volume coming into the can. It's very, very difficult to suppress. So that was a fun one. I think I mentioned to you, there was a day, I don't know, a couple of months ago, I spent on the range with, I have no idea what the round count was. It was a lot. We can call it that. But I was just shooting different variations, one after the other, and really finding out how to fine tune. We'd come up with this idea that, you know, a change in what's going on internally means something different on the other end, terminal end of the can. And so that process of finding out how to tweak that, how to fine tune that, what order to do certain things in was a really, really fun process. But here in Texas, it's also a really, really hot process. So it was a long day, but it was a good time.
Yeah, that Warden was unreal on that 4570. Jeremy, you shot that. What did you think of it?
I liked it on that gun. It quieted it way down.
Well, I remember when you took that first shot and you turned around and looked at me, and I was like, that was quiet.
Yeah, it was.
That happened.
Really impressed with it.
So let's talk a little bit about the Javelina series. That was a very impressive can. That is going to be one of that, and that is one of the ones you released at Goals, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, you've got one coming to you for some content, so I can't wait to see what you do with that and what you've got going, and more importantly, what you've got it going on. I'm really excited to see that and get your thoughts from it. So the Javelina is it's a flow through. We named it. We were coming up with something to name it, and we went round and round and round about it. We said, well, let's name it after the meanest damn thing in the bush, right? We're all Texans. Javelinas don't care, right? They're like the honey badgers of Texas. They're just vicious little animals, and so that's what we settled on a name. But that is a flow through can that is also somewhat quiet. You can't exactly call it as quiet as the Rifleman 30S because there's a lot going on in there, but also you get a lot of back pressure, so a lot of smoke in your face. You get no gas in your face. You get everything sent out the front of the can, and in most scenarios, in common barrel lengths, you still get below OSHA safe hearing, right?
Yeah.
So the decibel rating on that thing is typically below 140. Now you get down into 10.5-inch barrels and you start shooting some really hot loads, you may tick up above there, but that comes with trade-offs, right? We just want to make it bearable at that point, especially for, my background. Obviously, you can tell what that is. You think about getting out of a patrol car and having to do something that you don't want to do, and making it bearable without ear pro, without just absolutely hating yourself on the back end of it. So that was kind of where that project came from, and giving people a hard use can in a material that they can just absolutely burn down with a no barrel length restriction, belt fed rated system to just go shoot and have fun.
Yeah, I was talking to Kyle over at One Horse when I got back from Goals, and he was asking me about that can. He goes, it's flow through, right? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, hard use can, right? And I was like, yes. He goes, good, because if you're going to be burning that thing down in FRT mode all day, you want to have a flow through on that. So,
yeah. Speaking to that point, I don't want to. Somebody don't let me forget what Pack Rat said about the Texas thing, because I really want to get back to that. I want to put a placeholder in the brain. But speaking to that point, so the development cycle of that product was kind of fun. We had a couple of different variations of it, and we wound up settling on a one-piece design for the hard use aspect, right? So I can guarantee you anything that you're going to do in FRT mode with that can, been there, done that, have fun, she'll live to tell the tale.
Yeah. Yep. Matt, Jeremy, you got any questions?
No.
I just have fun stories about Javelina around here in Arizona.
Wow. Everybody's got fun stories about those. I wish I could put in one of the owners here actually went on a bow hunt recently. That's pretty fun for Javelina. He's got a pretty cool picture of what he was able to do there. I wish I'd thought about that before we came on.
Yeah, I challenged a Javelina to a fight up in the mountains. He was trying to get into the campsite.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I got down to almost like the gorilla position, like I was crouched down with my fist on the ground, like jumping towards him, and he didn't want any part of it.
Well, have you seen you lately, Matt?
Yeah, he didn't want any part of that, and it's not uncommon when I go to the gym in the morning to see a javelina sleeping in my driveway.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's those guys tear a bunch of stuff up, man. Not fun.
So let's I want to talk a little bit about the adapters so we can give the audience kind of an idea. On your cans, are we using hub or direct mount? I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the different suppressors and the mounting options.
Yeah, so all of our silencers that are commercially available today, save 3 models, are hub compatible. So they ship with a direct thread mount that comes in the back of the can because that's the simplest way for us to get it out to the customer and get them immediately shooting.
Right.
We know in today's world that just about everybody has their muzzle brake of choice, and everybody else has a hub adapter for that muzzle brake of choice, right? Or muzzle device, flash hider, whichever your flavor is. So everything's hub compatible, save for the Outrider, the Hunter, and the Bandit, the 22 silencer. So everything that you guys shot at Goals are hub compatible. We had them direct threaded on. That's the simplest way to do it for the show. That's what they ship with. But whether you're an ASR or a 51 tooth or a Plan B or a Chemo or a Xeno, insert whatever proprietary mounting system that you choose. You can just simply go grab the hub adapter for that, screw it into the back of the can, and rock and roll on whatever inventory you've got.
Nice.
It's the only way to do it.
Yeah. All my cans are hub that I have so far, and I just basically bought every size adapter there was. That way, if a gun came in for a review, I'd have the adapter to put it on the gun.
Yep.
Because the 44 mag, that was the one that threw me for a loop. I had to.
Oh, 9/16
by
24 or 11/16
I got to order
by
a hub
24.
for this one.
Which one?
Oh, what is that? It's the. I got the 1/2 by 28, the 5/8 24. There's 2 more that I have. I had to get one for my 45 cal stuff, but that 44 mag, it took a 11 something. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, 11/16 by 24.
Yeah.
Thank the Lever Gun crowd for that. So we spin those up here in a couple of weeks here. So we'll have the adapters for those customers that are wanting them.
Okay, so that was going to be my next question: is if you guys were going to be making the adapters too. So
yeah, so we already have the adapter file for what we use. The only thing that changed, the nut size is standard. The hub obviously is standard, 1 3/8 by 24. The only thing that changes is that thread pitch that goes onto the muzzle end of the gun. So it's pretty easy to change those over. Just make a quick change on the machine and thread that out for the correct thread pitch.
okay.
Yeah, I've got a PCC that threw me for a loop. I don't shoot it anymore, but I've got a PCC that threw me for a loop. I went and got, had this thing. I got a hub and another can and all this. Went to thread it on 1/2 by 28. No, 9/16.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like,
by 24.
I was like, when did this happen? Like what?
Oh yeah, wait till you get into some of the European stuff. It's all metric left-hand threads.
Well, I got some AKs that have the left-hand threads. Yeah.
Yep.
What PCC was that, Matt?
It's the Bear Creek one.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that makes sense that they would do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, they're idiots. But yeah, I
Can
just
I get
bought.
another plead the fifth here? Can I burn one there?
You can say whatever you want.
I'm down to 115, Matt.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I just bought muzzle devices for my AKs. So is the left-hand muzzle device that goes right to Plan B, and yeah.
Very cool. All right, so we can go ahead and get to Pack Rat's question. I do kind of want to say something though. There are a lot of everybody's been posting videos today about the NFA stuff. Make sure you do your research. Don't be listening to content creators about all this stuff that's going on. I watched a video today that the guy was just giving horrible information out. And obviously didn't do much research. The reason I'm bringing this up is because it's a hot topic right now, obviously. So every content creator is jumping on this bandwagon and putting videos out. The NFA is dead, blah, blah, blah. Just really do your research because, I hate to see anybody in my audience here committing a felony. So just really watch what you're taking in and kind of take it with a grain of salt right now because everybody is putting out videos and there's a lot of good ones out there, but there's a lot of crap that's getting thrown around right now. It's not good to listen to. So, Peyton, we're just going to let you go ahead and address Pack Rat's question from earlier.
Well, so Pack Rats, you got an interesting question, and it's a two-part answer. So you're asking specifically about Texas, and if I'm wrong on this, please jump in the comments and tell me. But you're asking specifically about the Texas state law for Texas state residents, and there's an irrefutable response to this in that that's a huge win for Texas and our residents, but unfortunately, state law does not usurp or exceed federal law. So while Texas says that you can purchase a suppressor in the state of Texas that's made in the state of Texas by a Texas resident, it does not mean that you don't have to comply with federal law and still fill out the paperwork pursuant to the NFA. So we don't participate in that for that reason, nor do any of the major retailers in the state of Texas. So hopefully that's something with what we're about to get into that we can do nationwide. But I've got some pretty interesting thoughts. I'm a case law junkie. I've read the 66 pages cover to cover, everything that you need to know in the NFA memorandum. People like to call it a bill for some reason. It's not a bill. It's a memorandum and a lawsuit. So after reading it for myself, taking my own experience and into account and kind of interpreting what it means, and then consulting with our legal team, I've got some pretty specific thoughts to what the bill, what the memorandum, sorry, I'm even calling it a bill because people go, hey, the NFA bill's dead. I've got some pretty interesting thoughts to what it means, but I can start it off with no, the NFA is not dead. Not today, anyway.
Right.
Before we get into this, I mean, what questions do you guys have that I can answer? Do you just kind of want me to go down from the top and tell you what I think about it and what it means for us?
Well, I know here in Ohio, I'm not in a state that it really at this point doesn't apply to me at this point.
Right.
And I've talked to guys at a couple local gun stores around here, and they're like, we got to wait for all this to get sorted out. And that's going to be a big thing too, that people are going to have to understand. You're not going to, these gun shops, it's their livelihood. So you're not just going to walk in and persuade them into doing what you've been told you can do. These guys are not going to jeopardize their licensing and everything else and their families to get you a suppressor right now. So nor should they. So I don't want to just data dump some of the specifics here, but there's a couple key critical things that you have to understand about that memorandum and the decision headed down by the North District Texas federal judge, still a district court, but a federal judge. So the one key critical, most important decision made in that suit from Silencer Shop Foundation
B&T, Palmetto State Armory, the GOA, and 15 other states, was that the registration requirements for suppressors, SBRs, SBSs is irrefutably unconstitutional. It exceeds the enumerated powers provided to Congress by the Constitution. So to understand that, we must first understand that the NFA, in and of its entirety, was, sorry, I was reading the comment there. The NFA, in and of its entirety, was developed, the forms, the wait time, the fingerprints, the entire process, for the purpose of collecting a tax. So any scheme for collecting a tax cannot then be considered a scheme if there's nothing to collect, right? So in 2025, in the One Big Beautiful Bill, Congress eliminated the tax for suppressors, SBSs, SBRs, and AOWs. They did not eliminate the tax for machine guns and a couple of other things. So that puts us in square territory for a fair fight in no tax, no registration. That is a logical and legally based argument. What happens now is that the plaintiffs named in this lawsuit, to include the 15 states, get what's called as applied relief, right? It's taken on the face of the claim for the plaintiffs put before the court. So the injunctive relief for the NFA only applies to the named plaintiffs, their members, and their customers, right? So, and the reason that they can't file an injunctive relief nationwide is the Trump v. Casa case in 2025. So Trump v. Casa, the Supreme Court came down and said, hey, national relief is no longer a thing. It is as applied. There is no need for the courts to decide national injunctive relief. The parties before the court can get the relief that they applied for. There's a couple of places where the water gets muddy here, and we'll get into those piece by piece. So the number one question we get is the NFA dead? For the reasons I just stated, no, the NFA is not dead. The NFA is still very much in play. Number two, the second question we get is, I'm a resident of Georgia, or I'm a resident of Texas, or I'm a resident of one of these 15 states that applied for relief. Well, that gets even muddier. These states, that's called parens patriae, it stands Latin for parents of the country. So these states did not, when you bring a suit against somebody, you have to seek a specific injury to be made whole, right? That's what a lawsuit is all about. So with no injury, you can't be made whole. You have to claim something. So the injury that the states decided to claim, very interesting, but it was on behalf of their agents, agencies, and their subdivisions. So if you read the memorandum, what the states applied for is their agents, agencies, and subdivisions were injured in the cost and the time that it takes to appropriate NFA items for the use in official duty, right? So that means your local law enforcement agency buying silencers, your local law enforcement agency buying short barrel shotguns for breaching, your local law enforcement agency, your state law enforcement agency buying SBRs for patrol or SWAT or entry guys, whatever the case may be, and appropriating for use in the course of their duty, right? So with that specific injury being stated, just because you're a resident of one of these states does not mean that you are. I saw the GOA comment, and I'll put my opinion in there, but it's not to be taken as legal fact. So just because you're a resident of one of those states does not mean that you get the relief. The relief was sought for a specific injury, which covers law enforcement agencies, state agencies, their employees in the course of lawful duties, right? Or as the book says it, in the discharge of lawful duties. So unfortunately, because they did not apply for relief for their citizens, generally speaking, the relief is not automatically granted to the citizen, right? Where that gets even muddier, I was a former resident of Georgia. and was also a law enforcement officer in Georgia. So the OCGA handbook, something I'm familiar with. I challenge everybody to go look up OCGA. That's the official law book of Georgia. OCGA 16-11-124. And in there, what you'll find is 5 sections, sections 1 through 5, that stipulate the lawful possession of an NFA item, right? Not just a specific NFA item, but an NFA item at large. And those stipulations are a law enforcement officer acting in the lawful discharge of his duties, a member of the U.S. military acting under the color of the U.S. military, registered in accordance with the dictates of the NFA, and a security guard. There's one about a security guard in there. I don't remember exactly what it is. But in the state of Georgia, even if the NFA, under this memorandum and opinion, were to be circumvented, Chris, Matt, Jeremy, Peyton still has to be or has to register that item under the NFA in order for it to be considered legally possessed in the state of Georgia. There's 16 other states in the union with those same laws. I don't know how many off the top of my head are in the 15 states that Georgia is one of them that sponsored this memorandum and this lawsuit. So that's another interesting thing. Now, to answer the questions that were coming in about being a GOA member, right? There's 2 other key critical things that are there. Being a GOA member allows you, under this opinion, to purchase a silencer as a member of the GOA outside of the prescribed process from the NFA. Where that water gets muddy is, one, the GOA doesn't sell silencers, right? But in their lawsuit, which Lone Star Silencer is a GOA member, and what we're working through with our legal counsel to figure out now is, does that cover our customers, end user, and dealers? We don't know, and here's why. Gun websites, that's a good one. I don't think so. And here's why. If I transfer a silencer to Chris from the 740, right? Am I sending that to your house, or am I sending that to a dealer?
Well, you're going to a dealer.
You're going to a dealer. Now, what if that dealer is not a member of the GOA, but I'm a member of the GOA, and I send the silencer there? Whose name is on the Form 4? It's not mine. It's the dealer's name. So who's actually transferring you the silencer? The dealer is, right? So that's murky territory that nobody really wants to play with. The other thing that we don't yet know, I guess there's a couple other things that we don't yet know, is that one, does being a GOA member extend to your LLC or your trust for those that have NFA trust that they put their NFA items into? We don't have a clear answer on that yet. Just being an NFA member doesn't mean that your trust is also, a GOA member doesn't mean that your trust is also a GOA member. We don't have that. And then there's another tiny little part called Section 5861J. That's the interstate travel of an unregistered suppressor. That was not addressed or enjoined in any part of this lawsuit that I found. I could be wrong on that, but that was also not included in this. So my statement and my opinion on this entire memorandum opinion and the repeal of the NFA is, we're not out of the woods yet. We got a long road ahead. And once we do get the NFA repealed, we still have some state laws that we then have to go and get reversed. Number 2, this is a major win for us. Regardless of how narrow the injunctive relief is today, this is a statute that for 91 years has not been challenged. This is an infraction on rights that for 91 years has not been challenged. On August 5th, a federal judge said, nope, you're wrong. This is unconstitutional. right? So that's now on record, which sets a precedent that we can go fight this fight. We challenged it. We've got legal ground to go fight it. This is a major win for freedom, the Second Amendment rights of American citizens, and the gun club en masse. The fact that we have a little bit of a road ahead of us in fighting this fight is almost irrelevant to me from the manufacturer's standpoint, because we gained ground that it took us 91 years to gain, right? I have a theory that has little to no weight. It's just the opinion of one man, but I would like to believe that when Silencer Shop and Palmetto State and those guys started writing this bill, it was pre-Trump v. CASA, and nobody could have saw that decision coming down that restricted federal courts from providing nationwide injunctive relief, because we've been accustomed to being able to get that from the Supreme Court. So I think this is just one of those things where the fight had to be fought. It had to be fought now, and this is the best way that we can do it. So that's my entire opinion on what we've got going on today.
Well, we lost Matt, and my camera is being crazy.
Uh-oh.
All right. Well, I need to fix we'll get Matt back in here.
Yeah, you look a little red in the face.
Yeah, Matt, Jeremy, I'm going to let you guys take over with Peyton. I got to bow out for a second and fix my camera again. This happened the last live stream. I don't know what's going on here. I'll be back.
So Peyton, for the sake of argument, let's say NFA goes away, right? It no longer applies to SBS, SBR, AOWs, suppressors, right? Are SBSs, SBRs, aren't they still regulated by the GCA though?
They are still regulated by the GCA. That's the next fight that would have to come, right?
Right.
So there's some import restrictions. There's some regulation with the GCA. That's the next fight to come, and that'll be an interesting one. But again, that's just something that we're going to have to take as it comes as an industry, right? We've got to win for today. The fight for tomorrow is tomorrow's fight. So really, when you talk about the GCA, and even after, if in a perfect world, if we tackled the GCA tomorrow, we still have states that the GOA, I saw in the comments, the GOA does a really, really good job of fighting for our rights, by the way. But there's still a fight that we're going to have to take to the state level and have laws overturned to be able to fully realize the gains from something like the NFA going away.
So earlier you mentioned something about the Texas law that says you can make your own suppressor, buy a suppressor, all that stuff, as long as it doesn't leave the state.
Right.
In Texas. Is that still a thing, right?
That is still a thing.
Does anybody actually do that you know of?
I don't know anybody directly that I can just call on the phone and go, hey, can you make me a suppressor? Right. I do know that it does occur in the state. What I can tell you, and I don't want this to sound like a canned response because it's not, but what I can tell you is no mainstream manufacturer or mainstream distributor or mainstream dealer is even beginning to touch that. That's always been more of a one-off kind of scenario.
Right. Because I remember when Texas passed it, I immediately got a hold of the Arizona I can't remember what the name of it is now, but and the Arizona State Gun Rights Organization, they're completely useless, by the way. But
Not politicians, no.
I emailed every person in their email list that was publicly available with a petition that I had made up for Arizona to do the same thing that Texas did. Not one email back. Not one.
I guess my question to that would be: Are you surprised?
Well, this is Arizona's equivalent to like the GOA or FPC or whatever. I can't even remember the name of it right off the top of my head. As a matter of fact, GWebs is out there, gun websites out there. Arizona Citizens Defense League. Yes, that's it. G23. Arizona Citizens Defense League is an absolutely. It's not a politician organization. It's a it's a private group it's a group, and yeah, I mean, you want to talk about nothing. Like I did not get a single email back. Not even saying we're not interested. Just crickets.
Right. And that's my ignorance for not knowing Arizona Citizens Defense. But that's even more unfortunate that they didn't send anything back to you. Right? I mean, I'm not an Arizona resident, so I'm not inherently familiar with the laws there. But I would imagine anybody taking up the rights of the citizens should have at least gave it some sort of thought. I think we could all agree on that.
I would have thought so. At least consideration. Hey, we read your thing. It's not something we can afford to take on or something. Just whatever. But yeah, talk about a useless organization. And gun websites. GWebs is out there. He lives in Tucson as well, same as I do, and he said the same thing. They suck. They're pretty awful. Yeah,
no, that's unfortunate, right? And that's where organizations like the Silencer Shop Foundation and as much as I hate to say it, Palmetto State and the GOA really come into full realization of what they're doing for us. Is in the absence of state level activists, we've got a national platform to go and do the work that needs to be done unapologetically. So, right. I've never heard one person from the GOA or from Silencer Shop or from Palmetto State for that matter, have any remorse for what they're doing. None at all. Right. And Brandon Herrera being the first to take a outside NFA transfer. That's a move that we should all as a community be proud of. And I'm sorry to hear that the Arizona folks didn't have a resounding yes, we'll pick up this fight and go take that on.
Are you all fixed now, Chris? Because I'm out of things to say.
Yeah, I'm fixed for now. Hopefully
Okay.
It doesn't happen again. I don't know why that keeps happening. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's going to be wild to see how this all shakes out, but we're definitely going in the right direction.
Well, and the one thing that I could say is I saw a couple of comments pipe up while we were talking about this. Like, well, I don't think I'm going to get another NFA item for another 6 months. And the thing, Rich B804, no. My answer to that's no. I don't think this sums itself up before Trump's out of office. But the important thing to realize is even take all of this away, take the NFA fight away, take the big game that took us nearly 100 years to get to this point, to be able to even have this conversation today. A month ago, before this was a reality, You still have sub 30-day wait times for most Americans. You have no exorbitant tax. An extra $200 in this economy is a lot of money, right? You have no tax associated with buying the item, and you can still Form 1 something and get that turned right back around with no tax to the NFA, right? We still have a lot of positives as of 30 days ago that we didn't have before this NFA, I guess, repealing the NFA discussion entered the chat. So I don't understand, and unselfishly so, I don't want this to be misconstrued from a manufacturer standpoint. As an everyday American, you should be going in and Form 1ing your own SBRs. Take the pistol brace off, put a stock on it, fill out the paperwork, and go do the thing. You should walk into your local gun store and go buy a silencer. You should walk into your local gun store or take a Mossberg 500 or a Remington 835 or whatever you've got in the case. Go buy a barrel for it and file the SBS paperwork. It is still light years ahead. I can remember the first silencer I bought. It took 18 months for me to get that thing back, right? I joined the police department and joined a team, and they handed me a suppressor the next day. 18 months, I still didn't have the one that belonged to me purposely.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're still, even before all of this came on, light years ahead of where we were even just 2 years ago. Right? So to slow down on what you're doing and wait, I think that the general public is just harming themselves because we don't know how long this fight's going to take, right? We don't know how long this fight's going to take. We know that reasonably we'll win it, but to wait and delay that any longer also kind of harms the general use clause that helps all this go, right? Suppressors are more common use today than they've ever been. There was a metric put out. I can't remember who put it out. There was a metric put out in 2025 when e-filing was really taking hold and people were getting cans back in a matter of days. And, the rhetoric was at an all-time high for the Form 1s. And January 1st, Form 1s were at an all-time high. There was a study put out that from and my math may be wrong on this, but from 1937, when the NFA was enacted, to 2023, there was something like 1.2 million. I'm going to try and pull it up so that I'm speaking intelligently to it. But there was something like 1.2 million. Yeah. So from ATF reporting, I've got it up on my screen here looking at it. From ATF reporting from May 2021 to January 2024, there were 830,000 new silencers registered, right? It took 87 years for us to stockpile 2.7 million silencers from 1934 to May 2021, right? And the data today has doubled that number in just 2 years.
Yeah.
Right? So the common use argument is a really, really intelligent argument to have in that, hey, these are not special items. These are not for a special purpose. These are not for special use. These are common use. Every American should have these. I don't need to walk out, get in my tree stand, shoot a deer, and suffer permanent hearing loss because I had 168 decibel impact to my ears, right? My daughter should not have to go into a deer stand and be scared to do what I've done for years and what my grandparents taught me to do and what I grew up doing because it hurts her ears, right? These are common use tools for the safety of everyday Americans. So the common use argument, we have to continue on doing what we're doing, continue buying these items, continue using these items so that we can have a better future with these legislative changes that are coming, in my opinion. Right?
So I've made the common use argument about a lot of things here lately, especially since January 1, right? My question would be, and this is the cynic in me, right? So it's not that I'm being like a Debbie Downer, but this is just what runs through my head. Is that it seems like court after court after court throughout the country seems to conveniently forget that there's common use precedent in other court cases. Seems to conveniently forget that texture.
Oh,
Oh,
did we lose him?
I hate to say it this way, but what good are these things if the courts can just ignore them with no repercussion?
Well, that's another fight in and of itself, right? And it's an intellectual argument, and it's rooted in fact and legally based. I'm not a lawyer, so who am I to say? But the more that we pressure our representatives, the more that we pressure our organizations to go fight this fight, the courts inevitably will have to make the decision to move forward with the common use argument. Now, again, a Supreme Court judge, you can call your senator, you can call your congressman, and they have little to no bearing with these guys. But if they hear it enough, if we're loud enough, if we continue to carry on the torch and fight the fight, as these plaintiffs in this current suit are doing, right? The courts, and again, this is not a legally based fact, just my opinion. I'm one guy who really cares what I have to say. But in my opinion, the courts will have to make a decision on what is common use, right? They will no longer be able to conveniently forget it and remove it from the arguments that are heard within the walls. So that's a tough one to answer directly. That's the best answer I've got for you, though, Matt.
Did they not? I know they didn't put a number on it, but the times that common use has been used, they tossed around some numbers, haven't they?
They did. I can't remember what they are off the top of my head.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't thinking wrong. I thought that they did.
That argument's been made.
Yeah.
That argument's been made. So I can't remember what the numbers are. And the other interesting thing is there is no metric by which, kind of another interesting argument for our Maryland residents, there is no statute that determines there is no number for common use. You can't say, oh, it's 1 million. Oh, it's 5 million. Oh, it's 15 million. To my knowledge, there is no number for common use, right? Not legally based anyway. There's some arguments that have been made, like this showed up, 200,000 for a stun gun, right? But you can't revert to any statute and say, oh, this is the common use number, right?
Right.
Conversely, there's a law in Maryland that says all AR-15s must be heavy barrel, but it doesn't apply to AR-15 pistols. There is also no legal definition of what a heavy barrel, what diameter, what weight, what taper a heavy barrel is. So all the 16-inch ARs in Maryland are stamped H-bar, right? Somebody please tell me what constitutes a heavy barrel. Now, if I take that, chop it down to 11.5 inches, put a pistol stock on it, it's now legally defined as a handgun. I don't have to have a heavy barrel anymore, right? There is no precedent, statute, number, finite detail that we can go to say what these things are. So that makes that fight incredibly hard to fight.
I do want to say this too. Anybody listening to this and replay, people out in the side chat, whatever. If you're not a GOA member, it's
Run.
$25 a year.
Run, don't walk.
Yeah, join the GOA. I remember Matt and I were at GunCon in 25, and I was out in the parking lot the morning of Saturday before the show started, and I was out there talking to Eric and Clint from the GOA. And this is around that time where they were trying to get rid of the NFA altogether. And even that day when we were talking, it was like, I think we're going to get rid of the tax stamp, having to pay for it, but that's probably as far as we're going to go at this point. But here we are a little over a year later, and they're still fighting it. And we're still not there, but they've gotten even closer to what they're working on. So, I mean, get over there and support them. I mean, it's literally a box of ammo to join the GOA. I'm a member of a lot of different. I'm an NRA member and a GOA member and an FPC member, but the GOA is really fighting for this. So definitely give them some support.
You're an NRA member?
I've been an NRA member, life member for, I don't know, years, long before I started YouTube.
I didn't know they allowed men in that club.
I can see I can see the steam coming off your head right now. I'm gonna burn another plead the fifth here, so I'm down to 114.
But yeah, guys, I mean, it's $25 a month or a year. I mean, for GOA.
Yeah.
I guarantee everybody in the chat room right now has wasted more than $25 this week.
Wasted more than $25 today for most.
Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah.
Right? What's a Monster Energy drink and a can of dip cost you nowadays? Right, it's $13
Right.
at the counter.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's they're definitely one of my favorite organizations when it comes to these fights. I mean, they're constant lawsuits all the time. So you could definitely join worse organizations than this.
So an NRA post came across my feed on Facebook the other day, and they were talking for all this NFA stuff, and they were like, "We won," and I laid into them. I was like, "What's this? You helped get this shit passed to begin with. Like the NFA might not exist if it weren't for you. So shut the fuck up." Like I was balls deep in them. Yeah.
Yeah, the NRA can pretty much fuck anything up. I mean, even like when we go to the Great American Outdoor Show, we have more problems getting media passes to go to that show than any other show I go to all year. Like, they just can't do anything right. I know they're trying to change right now. They're kind of cleaning house and bringing new people in. I don't know, but like I said, I've been a life member for almost 20 years now, so I'm in. But yeah.
Well, Matt, to your point, I don't want to open up another can of worms here. I can't remember who made the argument, but there was a gentleman that made the argument that several years ago, I can't remember if it was the Fifth Circuit and then the Ninth Circuit, or the Ninth Circuit and then the Fifth Circuit. Anyway, the classification of suppressors being firearms and thusly being protected under the Second Amendment was challenged, and it was ruled that suppressors weren't firearms. That's a dangerous one because now they can be banned by executive order, right? No longer protected under the Second Amendment. Then whichever way it went, the Fifth Circuit or the Ninth Circuit, vice versa, whichever way it was, then came back and said, no, you're wrong. They're serialized, transferred, and treated as such. Therefore, they are. By the definition, right? It's not. But because they're transferred, serialized, and treated as such, therefore, they are. So there was an interesting argument made that because of the NFA, that decision was able to be overturned. If you read the Hearing Protection Act, in its infancy, when it was first introduced years and years and years ago, it attacks the NFA, but specifically silencers, If you read the Hearing Protection Act and then you go read the NFA, which is just a couple of paragraphs long, the only verbiage in the NFA regarding silencers is 2 words: and suppressors. And all the first version of the Hearing Protection Act did was remove and suppressors from the NFA. So there's it's not my argument, but there was an argument made that the NFA is what kind of perpetuated and perpetrated that silencers are protected under the Second Amendment. So that's an interesting argument that'll be fun to see how it plays out with everything that's going on now.
Yeah, I had this conversation with somebody at work just a couple days ago. We were talking about suppressors, and I said they're honestly just an accessory, no different than a scope or a grip or a sling. But I said, however, that opens them up to being, banned, to that sort of thing. But if you leave them as firearms, it opens them up to being regulated by the ATF and the government. So, again, the cynic in me, it's sort of a lose-lose, but it's also sort of a win-win. Like, it just depends. Yeah.
No, there's a lot of opinions out there, and the opinions are only growing daily. So I can tell you, for us and this crew, we're going to take the advice of legal counsel. We're going to proceed as they see fit. We've got some really, really strong counsel that's plugged into a lot of really, really cool places. But it'll be, 6 months from now, the next fight to come, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm sure we'll all sit here and do this again.
Yeah.
What else fun we got, guys?
Well, we could get back to Lone Star. I mean, is there anything exciting you guys got coming up you want to talk about?
Man, we just released a bunch of exciting stuff. I really wish you'd quit pressuring me to release more exciting stuff. One of the things here is with the R&D team, the development never stops, right? Releasing what we released at Goals was a milestone for us in achieving superior suppression while bringing something at a cost that the everyday man can afford. But prior to that release, we already had 4 new products in development on the heels of that. So the R&D train never stops. I'll be out on the range tomorrow testing a brand new product that nobody has ever seen. I saw it for the first time. I've seen it in models and seen it in sketches, but I've never held it in my hands, and I held it in my hands for the first time today. Tomorrow we're going to go shoot the thing, right? And that'll start an entire new process of, well, I like this, I don't like this, we could do better here, and we'll go back to the drawing board on it. We'll chew that around for another 2 or 3 months, and then we'll have something else to release. There are 4 other products just like it that we're actively developing right now. Unfortunately, I cannot speak to what they are.
No, I didn't want you to do that. You guys, like, normally when a company comes to an event, they're releasing one item that everybody wants to see. But you guys, you rolled into Goals with a bunch of new cans. So
I can confidently tell you that the way that we work in this organization, from the owners to myself, all the way down, is I don't think we'll ever have a single product release. Right, because we're just, even down to one of the things I can talk about is down to the mounts, right? We're in the process of developing some mounts that will actually reduce the signature and the noise even further beyond what the cans do. And so I can't talk to their design or what they do or where we're going with that. But it doesn't just stop at silencers, right? We get down to the nitty gritty and even what we do inside the silencer. There's a recent discovery made that we can maybe. I haven't seen it for myself yet. I haven't pulled the trigger behind one myself. It's kind of in its infancy, but there's even something we can do internally to reduce and improve on existing designs. So it never the wheels and the development train never stop turning. I'll never say never, but I don't foresee any point in the future where you see a single product release from us.
Right. So
Question.
I got
Oh.
one last. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
So I got a question. Now, barring anything you're working on now that would give away any secrets, right? Barring those, and barring the very first suppressor, because the first time is always practice. What
Right.
has been what has been the most difficult suppressor in engineering and testing and modeling? What has been the most difficult suppressor you guys have made?
The Javelina, hands down.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
So when you talk about flow through suppressors, inherently to their design, they're loud, right? So prior to coming in day one at this company, I'd shot a host of Huxworks and Anechoics, and they're all great suppressors. I still have an Anechoics 36, right? It's my personal can. I have nothing, and that's an important note to put here, is that everybody we've met in this industry has been nothing short of friendly, right? I was just hanging out with a 10-year employee of Silencer Co., who's our number one competitor. There was not a competitive spirit. We're at a range day event. Our booths were set up right next to each other. There wasn't a competitive thing in the world with that. He needed lube. I sent somebody to go buy more lube. I needed an adapter and a wrench. He gave me a wrench. He ran out of ammo. I handed him ammo. We went out to hang out after the event. Just everything in this industry has been friendly. But there are some shortfalls with flow through designs in the fact that they're loud when you put them on a short barrel platform, right? So that's something I wanted to answer is, hey, you're never going to get it to a point where you can call it comfortable, right? You guys shot the 12.5 there at range day. That was pretty comfortable, but I wouldn't call it as enjoyable as shooting a 22 with subsonics, right? That's just straight up fun. So taking the edge out of it while maintaining as much suppression as you can get, incredibly difficult thing to do, because the more gas you have coming out the end of that suppressor, the hotter and higher pressure it's going to be. Ipso facto, the louder it's going to be. So the hardest development train that we had was absolutely the Javelina.
I am currently testing and reviewing the worst suppressor I've ever used. It's somehow or another, it's loud. Somehow or another, it's loud. Yet, and so I'm somebody that doesn't get gassed out easy. Like the gas doesn't really bother me. But this thing is almost as loud as a sound forwarding device.
Okay.
Yet gasses the shit out of me to where I can't breathe. How is it that it's so muffled that I get that much gas, but it's loud?
I don't know how to answer that question because I have never been a part of, designed, or put out anything that did that. So I don't know, Matt.
I don't understand. Like you would think with that much gas coming back, that must be so muffled up front, and it's trapping so much, that it would have to be quiet. No, it's the only suppressor that I have to use ears for. I use these. Yeah, I have to use earbuds to shoot it. It's the only suppressor I have that's like that.
Jeremy, if you don't know what Matt's talking about, and I'm not going to call the company out, but
I will.
No, we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that. That's not fair. If you've not posted,
we met these guys at the Great American Outdoor Show, Jeremy. Now, do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, there'll be a full video out. there'll be a full video out, and I have no problem being like, this is a throwaway can. Melt it down in FRT and get rid of it.
On that note, Matt, we can have some fun stuff. Must be the high point suppressor. Hey, speaking of high points,
It's not though. That is not who we're talking about. I'm just
shameless plug. Shameless plug here. I've pulled more high points off of guys than I can count. Right, but my boys over at TC Trading Post in down in South Georgia, go check out their YouTube review. These guys, I love Nico and his crew. They're phenomenal guys. These guys somehow, he sent the video to me today, which is why it's fresh on my brain. They somehow threw a high point in muddy, just took it and chucked it into muddy water, picked it up, and ran the shit out of it. And I was amazed. They must have got 1 out of 100 that were good to go. It's a cool video to watch. Going back to your other thing, I guess it would be a throwaway suppressor. I don't know who it is. I'd love to know offline who it is, but that's a new one to me. I mean, I've had some designs that were loud,
sure,
right? But never loud and gassy.
Yeah, and that's exactly.
Go ahead, Matt.
Oh no, I was just going to say, and that's exactly what I'm going to say in the review is that this is the can that you buy, you throw it on your FRT gun, you melt it off the end of your gun, and then send it into the ATF, and just be done with it. You had a bunch of fun, and yeah.
Yeah, I almost went back and did something with them. Glad I didn't.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't too, because I was trying like hell to talk you out of it in the hotel room. I'm like, this sounds too good to be true.
True. Yeah.
And we're gonna, speaking of the Great American Outdoor Show for a second, we're gonna do that one eventually. But man, after goals, and what was goals? 3 days.
Yep.
10 days at the Great American Outdoor Show.
10 days. Man, I would have to we made this joke. We'll have to bring our entire crew out and we'll have to run it in shifts. Because after goals, I would just be so smoked after 10 straight days of doing that. It'd be awful.
Well, the worst part about the Great American Outdoor Show, you're coming right out of SHOT Show. You've got like 3 weeks to get ready.
Yep.
And it just, man, if you go the last weekend, the companies are so sick and tired of talking to people. Like,
here's the gun, here's the silencer, you choose. I don't care, right? You want to buy it? Here's the kiosk. Have a good day, bud.
And the amount of people that come through that show, it's insane, isn't it, Jeremy?
Yeah, like, it's a monster of a show.
I told Jeremy, I said, if you can film and do interviews at the Great American Outdoor Show, you can film and do interviews anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah, it's chaos. But I love the show. I'm one of the few content creators that likes to go to that show, but I enjoy it. So
I hope to see you there. Catch me on day 1, 2, 3, or 4. Because day 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, I'm just gonna go. Yeah, makes boom boom, pew pew. Have a good day. Goodbye.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it is 9:25. We got to start working our way out of here. Make sure you guys go over to Trigger Bar's channel. He's having his live stream. It started at 9. Go over there. It's always a great show. But yeah, we're going to start working our way out of the room here. Jeremy, you got anything coming up? We ever going to get you to create content instead of just being my camera guy?
I don't know. I've been saying that for like 10 years and I got some equipment, but nothing yet.
I'm going to get you to make a video one of these days.
I might. So, nope. I'm just looking forward to September. You coming up and going to Full Send.
Yeah, I'm excited to go to Peacemakers. I like going to that show every year, so that's going to be fun. So, but yeah, brother, I want to thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, you come on every night we do the show. I don't care. So yeah, thanks for being here. Matt, I know you got a bunch of stuff coming up.
Yes, I do. I posted a video today about 3.5 hours ago. So anybody out there in the comment section that I haven't pissed off yet at some point in time in one of my videos, go on over there, check it out, give it a thumbs down, and but watch it. But watch it. I do have the Canik Prime Radian video coming up. I'll probably be recording that in its entirety this weekend. Just opened up the Remington 700 trigger from Rise Armament that I'll be putting in the Bleakley 308 from EAA. That'll be coming up. Also a Vector Optics. What is that? What is that Vector Optics I have? 2 to 10, I think, or 3 to 16 on the 4 to 16 on the Bleakley. So that's a video I'll probably be recording next weekend. I just picked up what's in this box today, and that is the Canik SFT Pro. So far, it seems like a pretty cool gun, but I just picked it up today, and got a couple other things that I was getting sent my way that I'm not going to mention yet, just in case they don't happen. And yeah, but I do appreciate you having me on, and Peyton, it was awesome to talk to you again. And
Yeah, we definitely got to get Peyton back on the show. This was definitely fun. So once we get some of these suppressors tested and reviewed, we're definitely going to get him back on here because you've been a great guest. Peyton, you got anything you want to close out with before we get out of here?
Man, big wins for Americans and our gun rights. I'm excited to see where it goes. I appreciate you guys for having me on the show. It's been a blast. Yeah, absolutely. After you test the silencers, let's have me back on the show live with no conversations prior, and you guys tell me how bad of a job I did.
I don't think we're going to be saying anything bad. So not after what I got to shoot at range day. I think we're in good shape here. So
I think we're in pretty good shape, man. Nope, good fight
living
ahead.
in Southwest Virginia just subbed your channel, Matt. So I wanted to throw that up there.
who?
Living in Southwest Virginia, he just subbed your channel. I just wanted to throw that up there.
Oh, very cool. Thank you, man. I'm sorry. Just ahead of time. I'm sorry.
G Webb says a lot of info. Thank you for being here, G. Always great seeing you. It was fun getting to hang out with G for a little bit at Goals. I hadn't seen him for a while, so awesome. And make sure you give Bit tell him hi because he brought the dog and I got to hang out with the dog too at Goals. So.
Yep.
But yeah, as far as what I got coming up, I got a ton of stuff. I want to thank everybody that watched the CAA MCK Evo video yesterday. It actually did really well. The range video will be dropping tomorrow. I got a lot of content that I'm going to have to start dropping on a daily basis. I'm so behind right now. But I got a lot of cool stuff coming up. We've got, I've got the one horse 10.5 over here. Really excited to get that to the range. The 16 was amazing. So this 10.5 is going to be a blast.
I guess I need to hurry up and get you a can, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have to get that on there. That's for sure. Yeah, so I got a ton of stuff coming up. I got a lot of cool products behind me, over here, everywhere in this room, and can't wait to get the videos out. So I want to thank everybody for showing up, coming to the side chat, and thanks to Peyton for coming on. Always great getting an industry view and how things are working. And make sure you're subscribed to Matt's channel, and if you're not subbed to my channel, get subbed up because we're going to be doing some Lone Star reviews here pretty soon. And with that, we're out of here. Jeremy and I will be back here next Thursday night, and we're going to do the GOA Goals Recap Show. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night, everybody.